Hi, my name is David, and I'm here today to give you 5 top tips on how you can create brilliant links and fantastic media coverage around your content. So, tip number one is to make sure that you're creating content that's both linkable and PRable. So, even just a few years ago, getting links from journalists was a lot easier than it is today. But nowadays, journalists are increasingly SEO savvy, and they tend to only reward links where it's relevant for their audience. So, if your main objective for creating content is to build links, then start with the PR story first and work back to design the strategy that way. It's also important to think about the format of the content you go for. So, things like guides, videos, checklists, they're all really useful for engaging the audience. But it tends to be things like reports, research led content pieces that tend to get linked to more often by journalists. But ultimately, that's going to depend on your industry, the sector you're in, the sort of company you are. So it's really important that you do your research and figure out what's getting linked to within the media sector that you want to target. Tip number two would be to create targeted and original PR stories. So whether you're creating blog content or hero content, if you're creating it for the purposes of PR, avoid just focusing on creating flashy headlines. Big flashy headlines can be great, but you've also got to make sure there's a media sector to cater for the message that you're pushing. So I'd start by taking a look at the publications you want to get into, seeing what sort of stories they're running, seeing what sort of trends there are in the stories they're running, and then working back from there to create something that's original to say within that, and then push that PR story. I would advise caution, though, about mimicking coverage and mimicking articles that have been done in the past. And just remember that any PR stories that you put out there, fundamentally have to be new for them to be news. So tip number three is to do a media and backlink analysis of your search competitors. So using tools like Ahrefs or even your own research, look for where and how your competitors are getting media coverage and links. This will often sort of identify quick wins that you can target and achieve. But it's also really important in revealing key target media and strategies that your competitors are using to gain links and media coverage. So, for example, if your competitor is having clear success with building links through creating report-led content or something even as simple as product reviews, then that's a really great takeaway for you to add to your outreach strategy. Just be careful, though, that you're looking at recent links and trends and making sure that you're not trying to replicate one-off articles. Tip number four is to go off blog. So whilst your blog is obviously a fantastic asset for you and can be used as a tool to generate links and media coverage, it's also important to not forget that you can also, in some cases, use your product pages and service pages to gain links too. This is particularly true where you have very newsworthy products or unique and interesting products. So, for example, some big brands do things like whether it's Greg's doing a particular vegan pasty, or a new sofa from Audi that's for your pets, or whether it's even you're a small business and you're releasing a new app or a photo consultation service for mental health services and sexual health services. Something unique like that could be a really great to get coverage, and a really great way to build coverage to those pages too. So I'd highly recommend working with your product department to double check and see what products you've got coming up in the offing, and even whether you can work with them to create a newsworthy product if that's feasible too. And last but not least, tip number five is to personalize your outreach. So obviously, if you want results for your outreach, it's really important to personalize and tailor your pitches. And that often means a lot more than just addressing them by name and sending out a mail merge. Journalists get hundreds, if not thousands, of emails a day. So it's really important that you think about how that story is appropriate for them. That often means researching the demographics, finding out what their audience are like, what their age is, what their gender is, what their interests are, and then really making it clear in your pitch to the journalist why they would want to run that story and why that story would be of interest to their readers too.